Shares of Adobe have come down 7% on Friday after OpenAI revealed yet another new AI product called Sora. Should have been called SOTA, state of the art, because of what you can do with it. Sora is an AI model that can create realistic and imaginative scenes from text instructions. Basically, video from text. Usually we had text to image. Now we're getting even more deeper into video from text that doesn't really look horrible. It actually looks quite realistic. Some might say even too realistic. But if you focus and look, it still has some ways to go. For example, that woman walking down the street in Tokyo, you can see that at one moment her legs basically switch. There's also this aspect of everything moving all of the time, so you're not really paying attention to the errors, which is fine, which looks very, very like a game engine. Now the question still remains, in my opinion, I haven't found the answer, maybe I'm completely wrong. Is this already generative AI? Is this truly generative AI, or is this some other technical term that I don't know what they use there in the back end? But is this truly generative AI? Remains to be seen. But the whole thing here is that, well, OpenAI might be coming for Adobe's business, and so Adobe's stock got hit by 7%, which basically means that now Adobe has a market cap of $247 billion, has a forward PE of 30.5 times. And as you can see, compared to its 5-year mean, valuation-wise, you might say it has reached fair value right now, even with some metrics a bit undervalued. And if we look at shares outstanding, free cash flow per share for a company like Adobe, you are definitely getting a lot of value by holding this company. Not only is this company itself growing, but your shares are worth now more than they were before. I mean, look at the growth here in free cash flow per share. Truly remarkable. Then if we look at the analyst expectations for the coming fiscal years, by the way, they will still be reporting their latest earnings report a month from now. But in the next coming fiscal years, growth is expected to be double digits, low double digits. Okay, so you're getting 11 to 12% growth year over year when it comes to sales, and then EPS closer to 13, 14% growth year over year, fiscal year 25 and 26. So still quite solid. Again, this is what analysts are expecting. Can be higher, can be lower. Now, I'll make the case as to why this, in my opinion, is an overreaction. That doesn't mean that Sora isn't an incredible piece of technology, an incredible step forward. But in my opinion, if you're an Adobe shareholder, yes, you should maybe pay attention to it, but I don't really think it's going to destroy the company just yet. More on that in just a second. If you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, would really appreciate that. If you want to support me even further, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment to get the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. Thank you very much. Now, for those that needed a small reminder from Adobe's last quarter, it was a new record for the company. So they generated over $5 billion in revenue. That increased 12% year over year, and GAAP EPS reached $3.23. With regards to fiscal year 2023, revenue increased 10% year over year to $19.41 billion, and GAAP EPS reached 11.82 cents. Now, within Adobe's business, they have different segments. You have Adobe Creative Cloud, which is their largest segment. So creative revenue was $3 billion. In there, you have things like Firefly, which of course is using AI, generative AI, you might say. Then with regards to Adobe Premiere Pro, it's now natively integrated with Frame.io. Again, with regards to AI and generative AI, in my opinion, Adobe is really not that company that has been sleeping on it. It has been using AI for quite a while. Now moving more into generative AI, things like that, maybe we're going to see even more developments in the coming quarters. Then the next segment is Adobe Document Cloud, so Acrobat and stuff like that. Revenue there was $721 million for the quarter. Acrobat Web monthly active users actually increased 70% year over year. Acrobat Mobile monthly active users surpassed 100 million users in Q4. Definitely a segment that is still growing quite fast. And the last one is Adobe Experience Cloud, which is basically the marketing arm of that business, shall I say. So digital experience revenue was $1.27 billion with subscription revenue of $1.12 billion for the quarter. Now, all of that said, of course, Sora from OpenAI is, let's say, a direct challenge to Creative Cloud, more specifically to the video side of things and basically also imaging. I mean, it's not new. DALL-E, Midjourney, those things have come out already, not quite a while, but in AI terms, for quite some time, and yet Adobe still continues to do quite well. Why is that? Why do I think that Adobe will continue to do quite well for years and years to come? I can of course be completely wrong, but in my opinion, the company's track record speaks for itself. It's all about the distribution. Adobe already has the user base, it has the brand recognition as well. So when it comes out with a new product, it can ship it already to all of its existing users. Those that use Photoshop, those that use Premiere Pro, those that use the Document Cloud, those that use the marketing stuff, analytics stuff, they can ship it to all of that, cross-sell it. That's why it's very, very important to find companies that have the leverage of distribution. The bigger your user base, the better it is for you, and the more difficult it will be for competitors to compete with you. Because the competitor can come out with a very, very good product, a product that maybe the market really enjoys. You as a big company with a huge user base, you see, okay, maybe that's a threat to our business. Let's work on that as well. Maybe even acquire that company. If you can't acquire the company, you develop the same thing and you offer it to your huge user base. Distribution, again, is key. Now, last thing I want to talk about before looking at the graph is the dangers behind generative videos, photos, you name it. The dangers are that, well, suddenly you can create videos that actually look super realistic but are completely fake. And so seeing stuff like this, Google joins effort to increase transparency online with new digital standard, makes it seem as if they're already on it. I mean, this is not new, of course, but with all the advancements, all the things that are moving extremely fast, it's pretty, let's say, comforting to see that, well, they're on it. Now, they talk here about content credentials, often described as a nutrition label for digital content, are tamper resistant and allow the metadata to be attached to digital content, showing how and when the content was created and modified. This nutrition label, if adopted by social media platforms and publishers, could be displayed on every piece of content hosted online, allowing users to access the history of any piece of content. This is a pretty good and simple solution if you ask me, or you could use a blockchain type of technology and, well, it's very, very easy to follow and pretty impossible to hack. But what do you think? What's the best way forward? And do you also think that OpenAI Sora is a direct threat to Adobe right now? If you're an Adobe shareholder, do let me know down in the comments below. The last thing here is the graph. This is on the daily, which now becomes very interesting as we are back close to the 200-day moving average, which sits at around $538 or so. If we go a bit lower and reach that, we are going to be oversold on the daily. But if we look at the weekly, RSI will be still pretty neutral. So for those of you that want to average down dollar cost average, I do believe a good opportunity will present itself. Of course, they will still report their quarterly earnings a month from now. So do with that what you want, but that's what I wanted to say about Adobe. It's a pretty big player when it comes to generative AI, despite being around for years and years already. Do not sleep on this compounding giant just because OpenAI came out with yet another good looking, fancy looking piece of tech. So that will be it for this video. Of course, if you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.